Welcome to Real Estate Success. I'm your host, Mena Badros, here today with Mark Carr. Mark is the team partner of the CCY team at Berkshire Hathaway. Mark, great to have you here today.
What's up, my man? How are you?
Good, good. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. It's a Monday, so we're getting moving. So
Yeah, I hear you.
yeah.
Mark, I want people to kind of get to know who you are first before we dive into business. Without mentioning any of your professional accomplishments, can you tell people a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'll do my best. So pretty straightforward. I'm just a kid that was born and raised in York County, Pennsylvania. There's about 400,000 of us here in York, PA. I'm the youngest of 8 kids, so I got a big
Wow.
old family, which framed a lot of my growing up, and even to this day, all of us are pretty close. Have 2 kids. Here's probably my craziest stat is we have 7 dogs.
Oh,
So
wow.
7 dogs, 2 cats, and a snake. So
That's a
um,
full house.
it is an active Carr family household. Yes. So
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, but yeah, as far as that's concerned, that's pretty much me.
Awesome. Well, Mark, you had a great real estate career and still going. Real quick question: what do you do now in real estate?
So right now, basically, I'm one of 3 partners of a team here at Berkshire Hathaway Home Sale Realty. I'm still day-to-day operations in terms of buying and selling, representing buyers and sellers to the transaction. Also, overseeing our team process, all of our agent production, all that fun. Basically, wearing a bunch of hats at one time, but my main day to day is still working with buyers and sellers out in the marketplace.
Awesome. Now I know you had a pretty strong start. You were also rookie of the year, and your career has evolved since. Can you take us real quick, kind of through the journey of your real estate career and kind of how it has evolved since you begun?
A journey is a good way to put it. Yeah, that's a good word. So it's been this is actually my 27th year of selling real estate. So I got started back in
That's awesome.
1995. Came right out of college. Actually, have a pre-law degree from LaSalle University, which is down in Philadelphia. Um, didn't go the route of going to law school. I was too anxious to make some money and get out there and make a living. So, but it took off for me. 1995, I was the rookie of the year here in York County. I was 22 at the time, which I was the youngest to do that, which was pretty neat because in this business, I think the average age is 54. I think the average realtor is a 54. So
Correct,
when you're
right?
22, running around with a bunch of 54-year-olds, it's a little intimidating, but I fought through it. Um, and I really just saw the sky was the limit. Then as I moved my career on, ended up another highlight was in 2006, I sold 21 million in residential sales by myself, which was a record here in New York County, which again was pretty fun. Now it was a boom when the market was going really well, but our average sale price at the time, I think, was like around 165, 170,000. So it wasn't
Wow.
like I'm
Right.
in Southern California selling $1 million properties. So it
Right.
was, needless to say, my car was running pretty good. And then from there, I've just progressed. I sort of saw the value in building a team, and I wanted to build a team a little bit different than everybody else. And so I built my team in 2010 as sort of like a law firm, like a partnership. So I brought on 2 of my good friends in the business who were doing a lot of real estate from another company, and they shared the same vision I had. And so in 2010, we built a partnership called the CCF team, and we took off right away. Did a ton of branding, ton of marketing, a lot of social media, a lot of TV, billboards, different things. And we ended up starting to get nationally ranked for Berkshire Hathaway, which again, if you kind of backpedal a little bit, I'm just a little kid here from Dallastown, Pennsylvania, growing up, and I'm on the national stage at the Berkshire Hathaway convention, standing beside people from Chicago, Newport Beach, California, people from Las Vegas, Nevada.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. So, so through about the last 12 years now, we've just continued to build off of that success, and so just looking forward to keep rocking and rolling.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great story. Thank you for sharing. As a rookie agent, what attributed to your success then, you think?
So I think one of the biggest things that when I was getting started in the business was I was just a sponge for information. I really gravitated towards learning financing. I learned how mortgages worked, how to get people financed, how to get people pre-approved. And I really didn't let any type of parameters hold me back because, again, what was kind of neat when I was younger, a lot of my friends were getting to the same age where they're getting their career started and they wanted to buy houses. And, I wanted to work around the traditional, oh, you need 20% down to buy and, you need all this, this, and this, and sort of just got creative with marketing and financing. And it really took off for me. So I started out as a strong buyer's agent, but I saw the value in turning my career towards, representing sellers. And so as I got more and more with buyers, obviously that got me located with more and more sellers. And so, but really one of the true secrets to my success was just learning as much as I possibly could, really just soaking in all different types of personalities and styles from a lot of the top producers at the time, and really just creating my own sort of presentation and how I wanted to represent, buyers and sellers out there. So
Awesome. What about with what you do now? What do you think is a strong attribute that contributes to your success at this level?
So probably the strongest thing for me right now is my name recognition and the brand and my reputation that I've built over the 27 years. I'm still very, very active in marketing, advertising. I'm not very complacent, so I don't sort of sit on my heels too much. So learning, trying to stay ahead of the curve on a lot of the trends and techniques. But I think one of the biggest things to my success right now is what the sort of the brand and the name recognition and being top of mind for a lot of the people that are out there when they're ready to buy and sell, so that my name comes, right to the top. So I think that's probably what's motivating a lot of people right now to connect up with me.
Awesome. I love that. You had a long career in real estate, and you said you wear quite a few hats. What role do you think is the most rewarding or meaningful to you right now?
It's still the day to day with buyers and sellers. It's interesting. A lot of people say to me, a lot of my clients, like, your energy is this interesting. You seem so excited to, whether it's $150,000 sale or a $500,000 sale. I still love just the art of the deal. I love, putting things together. I love being able to facilitate, the transaction. I think one of my unique techniques and one of my unique talents is when I work with sellers is getting their house ready for photos, really getting it to the presentation part, whether it's minor staging, whether it's overhaul, major staging. But yeah, I mean, I think, it's just people seem to be, I don't know if it's amazed or astonished, but they like the energy that I bring to the transaction.
Awesome. I love that. Now, you spoke about the art of the deal, and I know one of your strong suits is negotiation, right? And for the Asians out there, I teach a negotiation class,
Okay.
RE&E, the real estate negotiation expert. And it was funny, kind of during the craze of the market, people said, well, we're not really negotiating before we got to what really negotiation is. Um, what advice would you give to agents that haven't been through, other crashes or slowdowns as we go through maybe a market shift on negotiations?
It's actually it's a great question because you would think that there's this magical formula that you could use and teach and apply to the negotiation process, but in reality, it's really putting yourself in that person's place. So, when you're representing that buyer, that seller, really putting yourself in their position and treating them as if they were one of your family members, one of your friends, even if it's yourself. So the key in what I've found successful with my negotiations is I'm giving my clients three different options of how to attack the negotiation process. And rather than just one, all in, you know, you know, full steam ahead, I'm going to give them really three different options how to approach it. And I think a lot of people enjoy that because it gives them sort of some control in the process as well. And I think
Awesome.
if a lot of agents could learn how to give their clients some choices and some different insights as opposed to than just one, full steam ahead process, I think they would find themselves to be a lot more successful in the process.
I fully agree. One thing we talk about in negotiation class is expanding the range of options for your client, right? And
Yep.
the more options you can have on the table, the more effective representation you can provide, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Um, what is one thing you would say that you've done that have had the biggest impact on your real estate career?
Probably the biggest impact on my career is just continually learning and knowing that I don't know everything. Once I've watched it, and it doesn't mean it's an older agent in terms of their age. It could be their years in the business. But I've watched so many agents get sort of just stuck in their own way or get real complacent with how they do things. And I think that's the kiss of death in real estate. I mean, this industry is changing. I almost want to say daily. It feels like it's changing daily, but I mean, it's changing by the month and definitely by the year. And if you don't change your style and your approach and your mode of doing business, I think you're going to be left, on the sidelines. So I think one of the biggest impacts to my career is really never getting, complacent with my technology, with my techniques, with my approach. I think you always need to be learning. I'm a full supporter of that.
I love that. What is it that you do currently to get that done, or what can agents do to stay on the edge of that?
So, for me, I'm watching a lot of stuff, whether it's online, whether it's connecting with apps like Inman, or whether it's watching a lot of, whether motivational speakers or, again, with the beauty of the internet and the beauty of, doing things like this, we have access to so many different points of view, and not just in our area, but across the country and even outside of our country. And so I'm looking at people, that I align with, again, coaches, Tom Ferry's of the world, anything like that, watching and listening and just, again, opening your mind and seeing, what other options are out there. I think it's going to help a lot of people grow.
Awesome. How did the real estate business, and you can talk about more specific, your market changed from the time that you started till now, as far as your practice as an agent?
So, it's really locally. So York, again, so sort of where I'm at in York, Pennsylvania, we're historically a very rural area. But we sit about 40 minutes north of Baltimore, Maryland, and we're about 40 minutes south of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which is our capital. And we're about maybe about an hour and a half, 2 hours from Philadelphia. But, when I first started in real estate, we had very little influx of, people moving into the area and moving out of the area. And to this day, now we have huge amounts of people coming in, from outside of the area, job transfers, growth. York County has grown tremendously from the day that I started till today. And, so that's, that's one of the things that's just changed so much in this business. And you've got to change your approach, because again, when I started in 1995, we were just like this little old place, going through. And now, I mean, we're hustling and bustling, which is pretty cool. So
That is pretty cool.
yeah.
Awesome. Mark, I know you spoke at the national convention for your brokerage multiple times.
Yep.
One of the topics you spoke about was stealth marketing and kind of using Facebook to connect with your database or your network. Can you give us just a little synopsis about that?
I can, and maybe that's kind of it's a trendy word or a way to describe it, but
Right.
One of my secrets to my success was how I utilized Facebook to get my name out and to, really build a book of business from Facebook. To me, and again, same concept. I'm doing things that I sort of want to see or how I would want to be advertised to. I mean, the one thing that I hate more than anything is just when realtors just post a link to their listing on their Facebook page. I mean, and it's bland and it's boring and you got to go through like 8 different steps to get to it. what I found to be successful was a lot of people out there that aren't really associated with real estate. They like to learn the ins and the outs, like almost kind of the behind the scenes of what goes on in the real estate, industry. And so what I did was I'd do some handheld videos of when we're doing drone footage, for a new listing, or, if I'm going on a showing and there's, crazy, just conditions, or, just like weird wallpaper, or just, real, like just some unusual stuff. And utilizing that was just a great way, not only to give some cool content when you're on Facebook, but also to keep your name in front of people and to know, like, when they're thinking of real estate, hey, they're thinking of Mark Carr, and if I'm looking to buy, they're thinking, oh, I just saw something cool that Mark did, or, that's crazy. He just went to this one listing appointment and there's an 8-foot python, in this cage, and, just different stuff like that. And that was one of the great ways that I utilized Facebook to market to my sphere of influence without sort of shoving it down their throat, like every brand new listing that I got, or, award that I got. I gave different styles of content.
But that's awesome. Like behind the scenes of what's going on, in
Yeah.
real estate and as a realtor. That's awesome.
Yeah. Because honestly, man, here's one kind of a funny thing. I think people think like we all make $1 million a piece, and we all have these beautiful, Armani suits and drive these big $150,000 automobiles. And, and maybe that's our fault that sometimes we project that. But a lot of times, man, if I went and showed you my trunk right now in my car, I've got a wet one wipes, I've got screwdrivers, I've got, duct tape, and we're doing stuff, that's people are like, holy mackerel, I didn't think you knew how to do that. But, we're
we roll our sleeves up, right? And
we do. Yeah. I mean, we clean up nice, but I tell you what, we're not afraid to get dirty. So
for sure. Mark, if you were starting your real estate career today, current economy, modern technology, what is one thing you would focus on as a new agent?
So it's actually, that's funny that you're asking me this question, because this is something that I spoke about at the Nashville convention a couple years ago, just right before COVID. It was a topic of, do you join a team getting into real estate, or do you go out and be on an individual, to get into it? If I was getting into real estate right now, I think the value, now, of course, this sounds a little self-serving because I have a team, but I think the value of finding somebody in the real estate business that you seem to align with most would be a great way to get started, and finding a mentor, somebody who can show you the ropes. This industry is difficult because it's a lot of trial and error. There's really no perfect blueprint or, secret to success. Every area is different. Every, brokerage is different. And so finding somebody that you can align with, that you could learn from, I think would save you tons of trial and error, tons of frustration, and really kind of, get you on a fast track to success. And I couldn't express that enough.
Awesome. So I know, kind of along with that topic, whether you are, a solo agent or join or build a team or a brokerage,
Yep.
There's a lot of agents that kind of go for their broker license, and in that course, are still trying to figure out their options, right? Do I just continue being a top producer? Do I create a team? Do I create a brokerage? What's your insight on that, and kind of from your past keynotes and stuff?
I think it really boils down to, what's your goal? What's your long-term goal? And one thing that, is interesting, and probably we're talking about my successes in that, but one of my biggest failures in this real estate business was not setting my goals soon enough in this business. And I set a dumb goal. I set a goal to be number one in York County. That was my motivation. And when I did it, there really wasn't this like great, release of opportunities and like millions of dollars at the end of the goal and stuff like that.
There wasn't a big party?
No.
No.
I think I got like 8,000 plaques that are stuck in a box somewhere that I wish they'd just give me the cash for it versus the $40 it cost them to build it, But one thing, and again, it's hard to define your goals in real estate because, as you just mentioned, I mean, you could be your own broker, you could be your own team leader, you could be, You could go into an appraiser, aspect of it. You could go into the lending aspect of it, so there's so many things. I think what you need to do is you need to look at your totality of what your goal is, and that's just not professional, but personal as well. And then once you set that, then I think you build back, what your plan of attack would be.
Awesome. Um, if you were I know you started your team a little over a decade ago. If you were starting your team today, would you do anything different? Would you structure it any different?
So, that's always interesting when you look back. I think we would do a lot of things different, but I really think I would do a lot of it the same. And again, and we built our team. What was neat about it is I built my team with two partners, and they were two guys or two people that really were similar to my style of selling, similar to my age bracket, similar to our sphere of influences and things like that. And we really aligned with a lot of our thoughts and our processes and our work ethics. But yeah, there would be some things that I would do differently. It's really difficult in this market or in the real estate industry as a team leader, because as you mentioned earlier, we wear so many different hats. And so
Right.
if I could be just the team leader and really be 100% focused on all of my team's success and their production and their day-to-day activities, I would think we would be much more successful. And I think my agents would enjoy that a lot more. But you have that disconnect a little bit because you still have to make a living. And, so you're still out there doing your own business in your sphere of influence. And you have that, it's a delicate balance because your past clients are really your golden goose. Your past clients in your sphere are absolutely your golden goose in this business. And when you start to pass them off to other people, you have to be careful because they don't want to feel deserted by you or think that you're too successful or too big, or that, oh, they're not buying a big enough house to get my time, so to speak. And so it's a delicate balance out there when you build a team.
Right. Now, you mentioned you kind of wanted to build your team differently, right? What do you think sets your team apart in your marketplace, or what is it that you promote in your team to kind of stand out in your marketplace?
So my number one philosophy when I built this team was, and one of my partners sort of laughs at me because of this term, I like the idea of collaboration, and I call it the lily pond effect. And here's what I mean by the lily pond effect. I was never great at like the hierarchy of me being a boss to somebody. I say this 100% of the times, that if you work with me, not for me, that's really what my philosophy is. And, for me, the idea of collaboration is so vital and so valuable in real estate because, again, there's not just a one shoe fits all mentality in real estate. There's so many different ways to be successful. And the more viewpoints and the more options and ideas that you have, I think it makes you a stronger team, and it makes you a more well-rounded team, as opposed to just me starting at the top and just disseminating everything down. And so
Right.
I use that lily pond effect. Like, I love covering the pond with one little pad at a time, as opposed to just one big monster, frog pad to jump onto. So, and I think that's what I try to push for on our team, is make sure that my team agents are in the collaboration process, or that their voices are heard just as much as mine is. And then when they're out there marketing themselves, it's not the CCY team. It's really that agent with the power of the CCY team behind them. That's
Right.
really my philosophy.
Awesome. Love it. Mark, what's next for you as far as your real estate career?
So, oh gosh, this is great. I think I've had this conversation. So, what's next for me? So I just turned 51 years of age. And, of course, when I was 30, I thought I'd retire by 50 and I'd be sitting in the beautiful sun of Tahiti or something. And that didn't quite work out, So where I'm at is I've got two choices. Actually, I've got several choices, but I'm looking to really do another strong push, really the next 10, 15, 20 years, to just a strong push into real estate, reinvent, continue to, capitalize on my passion for the business, and just get out there and stay ahead of the pack, so to speak. And so, and if you rest on your laurels too much in this business, they'll pass you by in a flash. I mean, I think you're nodding your head the right way, you know?
Yeah.
And so for me, what's next is seeing what are the trends of this industry, seeing, you know, where do I see this going? And there's some really great things I see, and there's some really scary things that I see about this industry. And, you know, so I want to continue to keep forging ahead. So
Awesome. Love it. Well, Mark, I'm gonna ask you a few rapid fire questions and then we'll wrap this up.
yeah,
What is one piece of advice you would give to new agents?
learn as much as you possibly can and be a sponge.
Awesome. How about seasoned agents?
Learn as much as you can and be a sponge, and don't get complacent in your old ways. Old ways don't work in this industry. You got to continue to be new.
Well, I was going to ask you, and this might be the same answer. What is that one big message you have for real estate professionals?
Know your value, know your worth. You know, we sorry, this isn't so rapid fire, but we judge ourselves by commission structures too much. Know our value and know what you bring to the table, and always, you know, continue to offer value to the clients.
Love that. If there was one person you would suggest I interview on this show, who would it be? If a person comes to mind.
A guy named Anton Badros. He's amazing.
I know him very well.
I want to see the interview of you two, because I bet you there'd be some good content there that I don't know about. But
I might actually have to think about that one.
yeah,
That's
but
awesome.
you know, boy, off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I think you're doing a great job, man. I mean, I like the idea that you're looking for a variety of voices and a variety of content. It just fits right in line with what I was talking about. Learn as much as you can, listen to as much as you can. And, you know, so I don't think any interview is a bad interview, buddy. I think there's always some content you can get out of it.
Awesome. Love that. Well, Mark, thank you so much for your time and for the great information. I'm sure people are going to love this episode. So I thank you once again, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. See ya.